Okay, welcome. It is time for the recap of week 3 of the Madden 24 Origin roster, where every player is back on the original team that brought them in the NFL. First things first, we're going to go to the schedule. We're going to talk about each game. So, first game of the week was Giants at Niners. I mean, that was just a blowout. Niners just steamrolled them through and through. Next game was Colts at Ravens. This one was quite the upset. The Colts defense just dominated the Ravens offense. Like obviously the Colts only scored 20 points themselves, so the Ravens defense didn't play too bad themselves, but it was just a dominant performance by that Colts defense despite being way overmatched overall wise. So that was pretty impressive to watch. Titans at Browns. Titans just controlled it the whole way. There was not much resistance for the Browns. They put up some points late, but it didn't really end up mattering. Falcons at Lions. It was a bit of a shootout at first, but then eventually the Lions started pulling away in the second half, which ultimately led to a pretty commanding Lions victory. Saints at Packers. This one was interesting. It was real close. I swear this Saints team would be 3-0 if they didn't have Jake Hayner. If they had like an average quarterback instead of a terrible quarterback. But as it stands, they ended up losing by a field goal. Came down to the last drive of the game. Just another good game. Houston at Jacksonville. Jacksonville never stood a chance. Houston took a lead and ran away with it the entire time. It was never close. Obviously, Jags scored some towards the end, late, try and make it a game, but it never ended up mattering. Broncos at Dolphins. Dolphins won 31-20. Not as much as they scored in real life against the Broncos, but they were pretty in control the whole time. I think they had the lead the entire time. The Broncos made it a game, made it close-ish, but it was never really in doubt for the Dolphins. Chargers at Vikings. This one was interesting. This one was a shootout. Um, Eventually, in the third quarter, I think there was a couple turnovers by the Chargers, and it eventually just started slipping away from him. They couldn't run the ball. It was heavy Justin Herbert, so it ended up falling in Minnesota's favor, which is impressive because Minnesota themselves are in quite the quarterback pickle. Patriots at Jets. It was just a blowout. I mean, this Jets team was just dominant. This New England offense is so anemic and terrible. It's brutal to watch. Like they are bad. They are shockingly bad. Bills at Commanders. Washington's defense dominated the Bills. Like there was no answer from the Bills for the Commander defense for most of the game. Obviously you see it's a 18-34 Washington victory. There was just nothing, absolutely nothing doing for the Bills all day. Carolina at Seattle. This one was insane. The way that it ended, Carolina scored a touchdown to go up 31-30 against Seattle, who missed a PAT earlier in the game, right? Because they don't have a real kicker. Their step-in kicker missed one of the PATs, kicked it short. Anyway, it was 31-30. I think it was like 20 seconds left, and Russell Wilson found DK Metcalf on a vertical route outside. He cooked the corner. I don't know if it was cover 3 or cover 1 or cover 0. It doesn't really matter. He cooked the corner who tried to press him, and it was like a 70-yard bomb that saved the game for the Seahawks. Put them up 36-31. They went for 2, didn't get it, but it didn't matter because Carolina couldn't move the ball on their next drive. So just an insane way to finish that game. Seattle ended up coming away with a miracle. Carolina gets their hearts broken. Cowboys at Cardinals. Obviously, Cowboys dominated. They scored 52 points, 52-15. Just rolled them. I mean, it was like a guy with a gun fighting a guy with a stick, and not like a nice like a cool stick, like a little tiny twig. Like there's no sharp points to even stab the other guy with. It was just bad. Like it was just a beatdown. It was like 7 guys with a gun against a guy with a stick. That's what it was. It was literally like watching a gang of cowboys shoot at a bird, at a cardinal. They just dominated them the whole time. Bears at Chiefs. This one was a little bit of a shocker. Pretty good upset here. Bears undefeated still somehow. I mean, they didn't play particularly well on defense, but their offense put up enough points. They kept moving the ball. They kept it away from the Chiefs enough to end up pulling away with an 11-point victory, 41-30. Steelers at Raiders. Raiders were outmatched. There was just nothing they could do. Derek Carr played like trash. That's actually like most of it was Derek Carr played atrociously. So there's not much you can do when your offense only puts 10 points up. But yeah, Philly at Tampa. The Philly offense just died. They had less than 50 rushing yards, I think, in total, like across the whole game. They couldn't move the ball, and Tampa just didn't do what they wanted. They actually had a lot of troubles moving the ball too. I don't think the first points were scored until late in the second quarter. But I mean, it was just slow getting started, and then it Tampa was slow to get started offensively. Philly never got started offensively. And then Rams at Cincinnati, the Rams just dominated. They were on top from the get-go, never looked back. 42-17 victory. So it was just brutal. Obviously, you can look to the right, just in case anyone worries about it. Look at the force win. Look at the played. The played is all at one. The force win is all at none. So there is no tampering going on with any of this. It's all letting the game do itself. Let's look at the stat leaders, and then we'll look at the mock draft that the game has developed for us. And then we'll advance week, check the standings, check the weekly awards, and then that'll be it for now. That's the Vikings. I don't need to see the Vikings. They're in the middle of a quarterback battle. Top 5 passing yards quarterbacks so far 3 weeks in. Patrick Mahomes is first with 1,161 yards. Justin Herbert second with 1151. Joe Burrow third with 1126. Desmond Ridder fourth with 1108. Not a guy you'd expect to see here. And Drew Lock, another guy you don't expect to see here, is fifth at 1105. We'll just look at top completion is Herbert with 116. Attempts is Drew Lock with 169. Not a good sign when you're not in the top 5 of completions. I guess he is. He's fourth in completions, but you're 1 in attempts. Touchdown leaders. You got Dak Prescott in first place with 10 touchdowns through the air. Desmond Ridder and Tua Tagovailoa are tied for second with 9 touchdowns apiece. Also through the air. This does not include rushing touchdowns, although I don't think any of these guys have any. And then tied for fourth place, Cousins, Baker, and Russell Wilson all have 8. So, hold on, can I hear it? Hello? Alright, good. Alright. Hold on, okay, there we go. Interception leaders. So the worst guys at keeping the ball on their own team. Baker and Justin Herbert lead the league with 11 picks apiece. Cool. That's great for them. Aaron Rodgers and Jared Goff tied for third with 9 apiece. And then tied for fifth is Dak Prescott, Trevor Lawrence, Bryce Young, and Geno Smith, all with 8. There are so many interceptions being thrown so far this season. It's kind of insane, but, actually the only one of these guys that has a positive touchdown interception ratio is Dak. Let's look. How many else? Russell Wilson has a positive touchdown interception ratio. Joe Burrow does. Will Levis does. Honestly, just a positive ratio is fine. It's Madden. AI's stupid. They're going to throw a lot of picks. That's just going to happen. But if it's positive by the end of the year, we're fine. They're fine. Tua 9-4. That's pretty good. Anthony Richardson 6-4. Desmond Ridder 9-3. He's actually playing really well. Justin Fields 5-3. Not terrible. Mahomes 6-2, not bad. DeVito 3-2, pretty good. Better than Daniel Jones, who's 1-2. Kirk Cousins 8-2, and Mac Jones 0-2. Teddy Bridgewater 1-1. So there's no starters that haven't thrown interceptions. So there's nobody who's keeping that interception-free streak alive. Completion percentage leaders out of actual starters: Justin Fields still in first with 76%. Dak Prescott and Tua tied at second with 72%. And then tied for fourth is Matthew Stafford and Josh Allen, both at 70%. Top passer rating so far is Tua at 113.6. Longest pass still belongs to Derek Carr on his long throw to Trey Tucker. Desmond Ritter is close with a 79. Geno Smith has a 78. Burrow with a 75. I feel like Russell Wilson. So Russell Wilson's the DK was probably that 72. Who's been the most sacked? Kyler Murray's been the most sacked. Sacked 24 times in 3 weeks. Somebody want to do that math? Because that is not a good rate. That means he's getting bullied, and he's a small fella. Anyway, bell cow so far. Let's take a look. Derrick Henry leads the league in attempts with 99, followed by David Montgomery with 76, Dameon Pierce with 73, along with Kyren Williams, who also has 73, both tied for third. And then fifth, Bijan Robinson has 70. Yards, which is a slightly different story. You got Derrick Henry in first with 530. Brian Robinson Jr. for the Commanders is in second with 383. Dameon Pierce in third with 366. Bijan Robinson in fourth with 357. And Kyren Williams in fifth with 325. Out of those guys, the best yards per carry is Brian Robinson by a significant margin. The starting running back, that means at least 10 carries with the best yards per carry. Let's see. It's Jerick McKinnon. So he's not a starter, but he plays a lot. He's got 6.3 yards a carry. That's pretty good. They got to give the ball to him more. Rushing touchdown leaders. DeAndre Swift is in first by himself with 5. Second place is a tie between Brian Robinson and Derrick Henry, both with 4. And fourth place is a tie between David Montgomery, Breece Hall, Bijan Robinson, and Myles Gaskin, all with 3 apiece. So, pretty good numbers. Kyler Murray with a ton of fumbles. I'm looking for running backs. Saquon has a fumble. Joe Mixon has a fumble. Elijah Mitchell has a fumble. Kendre Miller has a fumble. Austin Eckler has a fumble. Ramondre Stevenson has a fumble. Isaiah Pacheco, Jeff Wilson, Alvin Kamara, Derrick Henry, and DeAndre Swift. All those guys at running back have a fumble. Leader in broken tackles so far, Derrick Henry 26. Longest run so far this season, Breece Hall for 75 yards. Let's go to receiving. Catch leaders so far this season. Keenan Allen's in first with 42 catches. Dalton Schultz in second with 32. Tied for third is Drake London and Devontae Adams, both at 30. And then fifth is a tie between Amon-Ra St. Brown and Mike Williams, both at 28. Yards, the leader for that is also Keenan Allen at 498. Drake London in second with 434. Devontae Adams in third with 425. Jamar Chase in fourth with 402. And in fifth, Puka Nacua with 388. He had a big game for himself this week. Leader in average yards per reception, that's Luke Musgrave with 36.5, but he also only has 2 catches. So let's look at somebody with a little bit more substance. Let's look for at least 20 catches. Guys with 20 catches, it's 18.3, but you also got guys like DK Metcalf who have 18.8, Marvin Mims with 18.5, but they're not quite into the realm of volume catches you want to see before you start looking at those numbers. Touchdown leaders, Jamar Chase and George Kittle are tied with 5 at the top. And then third place is a 3-way tie between Keenan Allen, Drake London, and Michael Gallup, all with 4. So, not a familiar face there with Michael Gallup in there. And obviously George Kittle is the first tight end to show up in this, stat-wise, but hey, he's putting up numbers. Longest reception so far, obviously it's still that Trey Tucker touchdown. But, yeah. Worst offensive lineman in the league. Josh Jones has allowed 8 sacks in 3 games. No wonder the Cardinals suck. Anyway, again, disclaimer, I say it every time. The defensive things for this, it's never correct. It's never accurate. The game just ignores some players and just makes them not exist in the defensive stats. So at the end of the year, we'll go through, look at all the stuff for each individual team. We're not there yet, so for now, I'm just going to look at it from here. If I were to do it right now, it'd take too long. Wouldn't be able to get many games in if I did that. It's going to take at least an hour to do all that. Anyway, solo tackle leaders of the season so far. Divine Diablo in first with 24. Ivan Pace and Juwan Bentley tied in second with 21 each. And then tied for fourth, Bobby Wagner and Josie Jewell, both with 20. Assisted tackle leaders on the season. Nick Bolton in first with 30. Second place, Jermaine Pratt with 29. Tied for third is Logan Wilson and Ivan Pace with 28 each. And then tied for fifth, Jonathan Abram and Demario Davis both have 25. Total tackle leaders. Ivan Pace Jr., first place with 49 tackles so far. Jermaine Pratt second with 45. Bobby Wagner third with 44. Fourth, Nick Bolton with 43, and 42 with Divine Diablo for fifth place. Tackle for loss leaders on the season. Quinn Williams in first with 18. Monster. Aaron Donald in second with 13. Monster. Rashawn Gary in third with 12. Monster. Tied for fourth is TJ Watt, Micah Parsons, Jeffrey Simmons, and Montez Sweat, all with 11. Sack leaders. Micah Parsons already has 10. That's insane. He leads the league in sacks according to this. Second place, Aaron Donald and Nick Bosa both tied with 8. Fourth place, Quinn Williams has 7.5. And fifth place, Joe Schobert with 7. So, interception leaders. Kobe Bryant has 4. A bunch of guys have 3. Harrison Smith, David Long Jr., Trayvon Diggs, C.J. Gardner-Johnson, Bobby McCain, Jamal Adams, and Marcus Williams all have 3. Forced fumbles. Who's the hammer? So far, there's 3 guys that are a hammer. Brian Burns, Xavier Woods, and Aaron Donald, all hammers. Any ball magnets? Only 1 recovery for some guys. No block kicks so far. 2 safeties scored by TJ Watt. He's a machine. Defensive touchdowns. There's also Trayvon Diggs, Bobby McCain, Trent McDuffie, DJ Reed, and Shaquille Griffin all have 2 defensive touchdowns. Kicking. It doesn't matter. Most of the kickers are good on extra points. Some are bad, 50-plus yards. Nothing has been missed below 50-plus yards. Only a couple of extra points have been missed, all by guys who aren't actually kickers. Punting. Who's good at getting into the 20? Riley Dixon with 10. Who's bad at it? Nick Folk, Jordan Stout, Rigoberto Sanchez, Yusuf Corker, Brian Anger, and Sam Martin have only gotten inside the 20 once. Touchbacks. Bunch of guys haven't kicked one. Who's kicked the most? Corey Bajorquez, who's kicked 6. All right. Kick returns. I have to go to the bathroom, so I'm going to hurry here. I'm not going to hurry, but best average returner is a tie between Tutu Atwell and Tariq Cohen. Touchdown-wise, Tariq Cohen has 1, Dwayne Eskridge has 1, and Marcus Jones has 1. Longest one so far is Tariq Cohen with a 102. Punt return. I don't believe there's any touchdowns. No punt return touchdowns, so who even cares? Diamador Lenore has 1 for 22, but I can't imagine there's only been 1 punt to the 49ers. So that's going to be it for the stats. Let's go look at the mock draft the game gave us. Just for fun. It is draft night today, so draft day today. Love the draft. Anyway, so far, it mocks that the Giants are going to have the first round pick. Going to take an end. Mocks that the Chargers are going to have the second pick, taking an end. The Packers are going to have the third pick, also taking an end. Thinks the Vikings are going to have a 4th pick, taking a quarterback. Thinks the Bears are going to take an outside linebacker with their 5th pick. Thinks that the 6th pick is going to the Cardinals for a corner. Thinks that the 7th pick is going to the Bengals for a linebacker. Thinks that the 8th pick is going to the Cardinals for a D-tackle. 9th, Jaguars for linebacker. 10th, Patriots for linebacker. 11th, Seahawks for an end. 12th, Saints corner. 13th, Jets end. 14th, Steelers safety. 15th, a Lions linebacker. 16th, Broncos corner. 17th, a Raiders corner. 18th, the Chiefs tackle. 19th, a Niners end. There's like 17 ends in this first round. Titans defensive end for the 20th pick. Eagles at linebacker for the 21st. 22nd, Dolphins at linebacker. 23rd, Bills at tackle. 24th, Colts at end. 25th, Rams at corner. 26th, the first tight end they think is going to go to the Commanders, which, interesting. 27th, they think a corner is going to the Ravens. 28th, they think a linebacker is going to the Bucks. 29th, they think a corner is going to the Falcons. 30th, they think a defensive end is going to the Bears. I think that's projecting the Bears pick. 31st, the Texans. I don't know who pick that's supposed to be. But the Texans are supposed to take a tight end at 31. And then at 32, the Cowboys are projected to take a running back. This is a bad mock draft. I don't know what rosters they're looking at, but bad. Obviously, none of the prospects look like anybody's ever seen because they're all made up by Madden. But let's advance to next week. We're going to check the updated standings. I would look at it now, but the standings don't automatically update as the week goes. They don't update till next week. So we're going to advance next week, look at the standings, look at the weekly awards, and that'll be enough for right now. I'll take a quick break, and then I'll get into it for week 4 starting. So let's look at the standings. So far, the Colts, Bears, Dolphins, Rams, Cowboys, Titans, and Commanders, 7 teams still undefeated. Obviously, there's a bunch of 2-1, 1-2 teams. The Broncos, Cardinals, Chargers, Bengals, Jaguars, Patriots, and Panthers. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 winless teams still. So the nightmare of zero in that win column is still alive for these 7 teams. Whereas the dream of a zero in that loss column is still alive for these top 7 teams. Kind of funny how that works out. It's balanced. 7 undefeated teams, 7 winless teams. So far, points for Dolphins had the best with 135. Patriots, worst. Anemic offense, pretty bad, 31. Points against, Chargers had the most. Worst defense. What the hell is even defense? Chargers at 145 points allowed so far. And the Buccaneers with the best defense so far with 42 points allowed in 3 weeks. So far, AFC North, Ravens and Steelers are on top. Browns down at 1 and 2 below them. And the Bengals are still winless. So pretty rough. Colts on top of the AFC South alongside the Titans, both 3 and 0. Texans are 1 and 2. Jaguars winless. AFC East, Dolphins on top, 3 and 0, alone, pulling away here with the Jets falling to 1 and 2, actually rising to 1 and 2. The Bills falling on a 2-game skid, and the Patriots have not gotten an offense going, so they're still 0 and 3. AFC West, Raiders and Chiefs. I don't know how the Raiders are supposed to be technically on top, but they are, I guess. I think the Chiefs are supposed to be on top. They're 2 and 1. Raiders are 1 and 1. But the Broncos and Chargers are both struggling here, starting to fall behind. Broncos at 0-2 and 1, and the Chargers at 0 and 3. Bears at 3 and 0 lead the NFC North. The rest of the teams are all behind by a significant margin, 1 and 2, all 3 of them. Lions, Packers, and Vikings all 1 and 2. But they did all win. They were all winless going into last week, so that's a good move in the right direction for each of those teams. NFC South, Buccaneers on top, 2 and 1. The Falcons should also be up there at 2 and 1. Saints are 1 and 2. They should not be second. They should be third. And the Panthers are at 0 and 3. They're losing a lot. NFC East, Cowboys and Commanders on top, both 3 and 0. Cowboys doing it more with offense. Commanders doing it more with a dominant defense, even though they've allowed more points than. Oh wait, that would explain why that's going on. Anyway, Cowboys and Commanders. Yeah, okay, I fixed it. Crazy enough, it actually didn't matter for most of these, but Eagles in third, right behind him with 2 and 1 record, and then the Giants at 1 and 2. NFC West, Rams 3 and 0, unbeaten, monsters so far. Seahawks right behind them, along with the Niners, both 2 and 1, and then the Cardinals 0 and 3, possibly the worst team in the NFL so far. All the 0 and 3 teams have a shot at being the worst team, and they all love to have that first overall pick. Some of them don't even need quarterbacks; they just need a team. And convenient. The Bears must have had a player win the weekly award. So Justin Fields is your NFC Offensive Player of the Week for last week. 22 of 29, 259 pass yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 pick thrown, sacked 5 times, 14 carries for 119 rushing yards and a touchdown. Great day in the air and on the ground. Your NFC Defensive Player of the Week is James Houston IV, who had 6 tackles and 4 sacks and a forced fumble in relief of, I believe it was the old man, Kyle Van Noy. So, stellar performance by James Houston. Keenan Allen was your AFC Offensive Player of the Week. He had 21 catches for 252 receiving yards, 2 touchdowns. Just a really good game. I mean, there's not much more to it. Quinn Williams is your AFC Defensive Player of the Week. 12 tackles, 5 sacks. I imagine at least 6 of those tackles were tackles for loss, but for some reason it doesn't show that on this. Either way, those are your award winners for this week. That's going to do it for the recap. I'm going to take a quick break, use the restroom, get myself some food, and we'll come right back to start week 4 with Lions at Packers. So, I'll be right back. See y'all in a little bit. Unless you're watching this on YouTube, in which case I'll be back tomorrow to start week 4. Because I try to upload every day at 11. There's been a couple times where I've missed because I ran out of things to upload or because something was taking too long. But other than that, it's always every day at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. But yeah, see y'all in a little bit.